Where's Jake gone? Oh, he's back.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Geeks Assembled. And today, as you could probably guess from the sound of my voice, we are going to talk about a 1995 movie called Dragonheart. A wonderful fantasy movie, in my opinion. But we're going to go around everybody, and we're going to get opinions and their own thoughts on the movie. We don't have an evil king with us, but we do have an evil queen. So let's go to Alex.
Well, I used to love this film as a kid, and I used to love Draco, the dragon, obviously, and I used to like the characters, even though I didn't like the prince. I thought he was horrible, the king. And some things are best left to the past and to your memories, because you do look at films back in the day with a bit of rose tinted glasses, don't you, thinking, oh yeah, it was much better than it was. And then rewatching it, honestly, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it.
Because there was no unicorns.
Well, there were no unicorns. And Lee asked me this question earlier, and I said, no, if you watch the film, Lee, you'd know there's no unicorns. So, yeah, it just didn't work for me. Just didn't work. I just didn't find it interesting. I liked it at the beginning, and where the dragon was more hidden. Then when you see the dragon, it's hard to accept those special effects in these days, isn't it? Really. Sometimes it looked all right, but other times it just looks so bad. But the film itself, I just thought there wasn't a lot going on. Like, why not just let the king die? Just why did the dragon have to do that in the first place? Give him a heart. Like, why bother? Just don't do it.
Well, because they thought, they were doing the right thing, didn't they? They didn't know it turned into a psychotically evil.
No, but why did he need to do it in the first place? What was the point?
Well, because he cared for him, didn't he? The knight cared for him, and
he explained that at the end of the movie. He was worried about his soul, and he had to do something for the good of humanity to save his soul. And he thought that this kid was telling the truth, and he gave him.
But he could have done it with any kid.
Attention to the film.
He could have done it with any kid. I'm sure there's
loads. He didn't have any other kid in front of him dying.
No,
did
come
he?
on. I'm sure there's loads of kids that end up dead. You know.
Also as well, it was his mother's wish to do it.
Yeah.
Queen.
Julie Christie,
yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful.
No, I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Oh, well.
Bring fire down on him, Ethan. Go ahead.
Well.
That's it. Back to Ethan. Back
Okay.
to the studio.
Yeah. Well, personally, I love the movie. I still love it. You could see like the dragon. Obviously, it's one of those graphics where you could tell it's kind of old and bit dated, but for me, it still held up. It's like the movie Casper. I love the movie Casper.
Oh no, Casper holds up. Yeah,
Casper really holds up. That's one of those movies that really holds up with the effects and the uncles, how they look, all of them. And to me, Draco is kind of like that. I thought he looked great. To me, it's still one of the best fantasy movies ever. And Draco is there's two best movie dragons ever. Draco and Elliot from Pete's Dragon. Don't you shake your head at me. Don't you diss Elliot. That awesome dragon with the pink hair and the pink wings. Elliot was the business. He is the business.
Cher, take no notice of him. He hasn't had his meds yet.
I don't need my meds up. I threw them out. But I love it. Dennis Quaid is great in it as the Knight Bowen. What's his name? David Thewlis is brilliant as the evil king. He's a nasty villain. And I forgot Jason Isaacs was in this. He plays his sort of like second in command.
The evil king, isn't he the guy wasn't he in Dinotopia? Does anybody remember Dinotopia?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it is David Thewlis. And Jason Isaacs, like I said, he's in it. But yeah, it's a Pete Postlethwaite. Is that how you pronounce his name?
No.
Pete
Who was that?
Forthway.
Who did he play?
Postlethwaite, he played the priest.
the priest.
Oh, the priest. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, brilliant
Yeah.
actor, fantastic, amazing actor. But yeah, I still love the film.
I mean, it is a kids' film, isn't it? It really is a kids' film.
It
It's
is a
directed
kid. Yeah,
towards
it's
kids. Yeah.
sort of a family movie, but you know what? It's a good family film. It still holds up for me. Holds a special place in my heart. Sean Connery as the dragon. You couldn't pick a better dragon.
Magic for me was King Arthur's voice at the end when they were,
Yeah.
and that was John Gielgud.
Yep, it was. That was brilliant.
That was so unexpected.
Yeah, that was a brilliant scene. Okay, so let's go to Lee.
Oh, you caught me out then.
I cut you out.
Yeah, I saw this when it was out back in the mid-90s, and I haven't seen it since. It's enjoyable. I agree the story is lacking. The acting in it is, I think the actors do the best they can with the material they've got. There's nothing wrong with Draco. I think it's a brilliant effect as Dragon for 1996. Sean Connery is just being Sean Connery. He's not pretending to be a dragon. I don't know how you can pretend to be a dragon.
Yeah, that's true.
Dennis Quaid. Yeah, an American playing an English knight.
Yeah, that's a real
accent. That's a bit off-putting. But apart from that, I think Beef Dad's already mentioned Julie Christie. That was a nice surprise when she popped up, because she doesn't acting. She hasn't been in many for quite a few years. I think she gave up acting in the early 70s, I think, and then every now and again she pops up in things. There's quite a few familiar faces in this. I'm not going to diss this. It's an enjoyable fantasy movie. It's not the best fantasy movie, but I think for me the story was just lacking. There was just a little bit of oomph missing from it. It was nothing out the ordinary story-wise. But apart from that, yeah, I sat and watched it, and it didn't drag for me. From beginning to end, it didn't drag, so that was okay. So I'll go to my favourite moments when we get to them. So back to you, Ethan, in the studio.
Thanks, Lee. Yeah, no, I agree. The story, I think there could have been so much more to it, but it's decent enough. It's decent enough. No, it could have. I do agree. There could have been a bit more oomph to it. That they do work the best they can with the material, but doesn't drag, and it is decent enough. So over to the lovely lady Susan.
You muted, Susie.
Susan,
Susie, you muted.
Susan.
I wasn't sure which lovely Susan you were talking about.
Oh yeah, I keep again. Susan.
I was deferring.
Right.
I wanted to like it. I really did. The cast was great. Actually, all the effects were fine. I didn't have a problem with those at all. The dragon was lovely. The costumes looked good. I don't know exactly why the movie didn't work for me. It didn't seem to gel, to be honest. But I don't know why. I can't figure out exactly why. So it has something to do with the editing and direction, I think. That was my problem, the way it was all put together. But the cast was great. The dragon was great. It should have all been fabulous. But it wasn't what it could have been.
And I'd say, is it because there's not enough focus? There's not enough focus on one element, maybe.
No, it's just the way it was all put together. And oh my gosh, the woman that Quaid ends up married at the end. She was the doctor on House and ended up being the mother of Kirk, later on in Star Trek, the movie.
All right. Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, that's my opening thought. I think your kids would love it. Play it for them. It's just not the best movie out there.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Susie. And over to the first Doctor, Beef Dad, obviously.
The first time I've seen it, and I must confess, I really enjoyed it. I have a thing for dragons. I love dragons. It reminded me of the dragon in Merlin, who also is absolutely incredible. But I like the idea that with Bowen and the dragon doing a cheaty thing to get gold for Bowen. That was just so good. I like that. Yeah, the sort of the extras were brilliant. There's so many brilliant names in it, and yeah, they were just very entertaining. I found it very enjoyable. But there again, at my age, I tend to like kid things.
Nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, it was really, really well done, I thought. I did like the work on the dragon. I thought that was good. And yeah, the sort of effects that they did with the archery, the anti-dragon archery, was just very, very clever, very, very well done. Most enjoyable.
Nice one, and I definitely agree. Nothing wrong with that. Loving kids stuff, kids films. To quote, what was it? There's no point in being grown up if you can't act childish sometimes. And yeah. And I see Beef's just popped up, so let's go over to Beef. How you doing, mate?
Marvelous. Yeah, like Captain Jack, I just popped up and just thought I'd, yeah. Did you miss me? So, what would you like to know about Dragonheart? It's some people love it, some people hate it, but it's a film that, had it have come out in the 1980s, would have got a lot more coverage than when it came out, because it does lend itself to a film of that era. I think the special effects on it are absolutely amazing, to be honest with you. If you think about it, this was when it was still in its formative years. Jurassic Park came out in 1993. I think this came out in 96. That's 3 years later. And you can see the leaps on actually having something interacting with the surroundings around it, without having the backing of the money that someone like Steven Spielberg had. So I think it was an advancement in technology as it went along. And it's got the classic tropes. It's got, the people who should become enemies becoming friends. You've got the one, the two who were sworn together, which were, the king and his knight, his protector, then them going in opposite directions, them becoming enemies. So you've got all the classic tropes of what will be a sort of a knight's tale to a certain degree. So it plays on those classic themes. I like the jokes and the humor in it. It's a very busy story, don't get me wrong. It's a really busy story, and I think at points it can get a little bit confusing and is a little bit more overcomplicated than it has to be. But it's an immensely fun story, and Pete Postlethwaite does steal it, to be honest with you. The two biggest stars in it are Pete Postlethwaite and Sean Connery's voice. And is it worth spoiling the ending? Well, if you haven't seen it since 1996 and you haven't seen it by now, then I wouldn't really worry about it. But you do get, if you can just like switch off and enjoy it, and which is the purpose of cinema in this day and age, and experience the fun and get, follow the story as it is, then you do get caught up in it and you enjoy it, and you like what is to a certain degree a tragic ending, but it's got, you know, one of those marvelous endings that you get with Clash of the Titans. If you think about the end of Clash of the Titans, all the gods, and it goes through all the different constellations in the sky, and you get that story with the dragon at the end. So yeah, for me, it's a wonderful tale, and it's often overlooked because there were those sort of other films that came out in the time. You didn't get anything that was like this at that point in time, really. You didn't get the sort of medieval sort of thing. Cinemas were burned by Willow and stories like this in the early 80s. So you didn't really get this again. And until you had Lord of the Rings, which is sort of a different type of story, but it's got that same medieval type setting to it. You didn't really get anything like that catered for this sort of fantasy audience. So it has to have its dues as where it was, and it's still a great watch.
Oh yeah, totally agree. It's definitely, I definitely agree with the fact that it is just, people should just shut down, just enjoy for what it is. And it is a fun little fantasy movie. It has all the great tropes that any fantasy movie should bloody have. And yeah, well said, Beef. Let's go to Jake. What do you think?
I've never really liked films that mix both medieval and dragons. I've never been a dragon fan because I've got a parent who's mad on dragons. So it's all I've grown up with. And this film, it's got a good cast, but to me, it doesn't redeem it at all. I just find the whole idea, I just didn't enjoy it. Like Alid, really. It's like, I don't see the point of it, you know? It's just, the dragon, it's just Sean Connery, really. He isn't really dragon-y, is he? That's the only redeeming selling point of this film. Oh, the dragon's voiced by Sean Connery! It's literally slapped on the cover of it. But it wasn't even a good villain. He was so uncomfortable to watch that I really struggled with him as a villain, if that makes sense. About creepy and... I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it. I don't like stuff like this. I did try it, but it wasn't for me.
Well, that's the main thing. You tried it, you know, good on you. Unlike some people who just look it up, the description, and just go, okay, right, that's rubbish. Right, over to Susan and Alex.
Well, I liked it when I first saw it in the 90s. I enjoyed this movie. I think that, you know, on rewatch, it isn't all it's cracked up to be, but it's when I saw it the first time, I really liked it. So it was a pleasure to re-watch it. But you know, the movie itself is pretty just, you know, in the middle of the road. I mean, it's I guess I'll get to my favorite part later, but there are some dynamics that are really intriguing about it, and I'll tell you that later in terms of the relationships. But also the cast, you know, you can't complain. There's absolutely amazing actors in the cast. So here is Alex.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I've never really been a fan of fantasy movies, really. But yeah, it is kind of middle of the road. It's not that snappy, and unfortunately, you need that. And Sean Connery being a dragon's voice, no, it doesn't work. I'd rather watch the Merlin TV show. It's tough because you want to appeal to as much as you can, but then you have the diehard fans as well. So, and then really, the dialogue is all right, but the direction didn't seem all right, and then it didn't pull me in, which you kind of, you have to have some fun with the story as well, and I didn't find it fun. It's kind of went, you know, I mean, if it was a TV movie, maybe I would have been more impressed.
It's not really your genre.
Right, it's not my genre, but Sean Connery, much as I like him, I mean, he never changes his voice. It's like Jack Nicholson. Even I started going, maybe they should have had Jack Nicholson in this. It would have been more fun. Maybe for the wrong reason, but yeah, it's a shame because it should have been really great, and it kind of wasn't. And I would have rather have watched something else. I mean, the Three Musketeers, almost all the versions, I would have rather watched, or Merlin, or the old Clash of the Titans from the '80s. At least that was campy fun. Here, I'm not sure where they were going.
Oh, well, thanks for that, guys.
Or even now.
Yeah.
Or you love this movie.
Yeah, but okay, so we've gone through everybody. We'll go to favorite moments now.
Wait, didn't we? Did we talk? Did you talk to Lee?
Yeah, you could tell by the expression there.
Pay attention, Susan.
All right.
Too busy watching the Doctor Who broadcast.
You can see the steam coming out of his ears there. Right. So favorite moments. I'll go around everybody, and then I'll do mine last. So we're gonna jump back to the evil Disney queen herself, Aled.
All right, me first. Okay, well, my favorite moments are when the kid gets stabbed, the young king.
It is a good moment.
It is a good moment. He just gets impaled on that spike.
Yeah, both times he gets stabbed. It's a good moment.
Yeah, that was the first time was particularly enjoyable. When they enter the dragon cave for the first time, and you can just hear the dragon, and they're talking to the dragon. You don't see the dragon because it builds up the mystery. Even though I already know what the dragon looks like, it's still great to hear something. Seeing less is more, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So when you see too much of the dragon, it doesn't quite work as well. When you see glimpses of the dragon, it works better. And my other favorite moment is when the dragon dies.
Classic villain. Classic villain.
Because it signals the end of the film.
It is a beautiful moment in the film.
I mean, they could have solved the whole film with just killing the dragon in the first place.
But they liked the dragon.
Yeah, but the dragon was always going to die. So basically, you could have cut probably, I would say, an hour and a half by just killing the dragon in the first 20 minutes.
Basically, just make the film about death, and Alan would be like, "Yay!"
Don't tell it in the first 20 minutes, and then
that's my favorite moments.
Okay.
Back to you, Ethan, in the studio.
Thanks, buddy. And there you have it, folks. The classic villain. Or death. But over to Lee.
I did like the way the dragon and Dennis Quaid's character became trusted each other to become two con artists. That was good fun. It was a bit strange that he didn't recognise the voice of the dragon from when the young kid. I mean, that's a very distinctive voice what Connery's got. So yeah, I don't know. What's his name? David Fuellis. Yeah, I don't know if the style they dressed him in as an adult king worked well. I can see the geeky young kid, but keeping the same hairstyle when he was growing up, just didn't do it. It wasn't threatening enough. With the basin cut. No, brilliant. He is a brilliant actor. He's been in many, many movies. Yeah, I just like the camaraderie between the dragon and the knight. It just works so well, and the comedy in it is brilliant. Where whether he's dragging him through the trees on the saddle and all like that, and then also when I think Beef Dad mentioned the dragon hunters with all the traps, and they all fell foul of it all. Just that sort of thing. Yeah, good movie, enjoyable, but it's maybe a bit dated now. Over to Ethan.
No worries. Thanks, Lee. Let's go to. I had to get this right now. Susie.
Great. Well, there is an awful lot to like about this movie. The dragon's gorgeous. And how could you not know that with Sean Connery? Anyone who is like watched any movie of their entire lives who's above the age of 5 knows the voice of Sean Connery. So that was brilliant. Dennis Quaid is a good actor. I just didn't see him in this part, but you know, he tried. But one of my favorite moments is a weird moment, I guess. It is funny. They're trying to. They're at the one village, and when they're trying to get money out of the villages, and he gets hit, supposedly hit by an arrow and dives into the lake, but the lake's not deep enough for them to see that he's dead, and the villagers decide they're going to eat the dragon, so they all run into the lake. So the dragon's like, I gotta get out of here. But and so then it's obvious that he's not dead. It was funnier than what I explained, but it actually worked. And this is what I just don't understand about the movie. It did get. I looked it up because I wanted to know more about it, but it did get an Academy Award nomination for special effects. So I really don't have any problem with the special effects. And I was wrong. The one actress was not the actress that was from House and was in Star Trek. It's a different actress altogether. She just looked too similar. So that was my mistake. But I liked it. The cast was fabulous. What else? What else did I like? I liked it when the Queen set the heroine free, saying that she didn't want her to have the same fate she did. In other words, having to marry an evil king. That was nice. And I did like the interplay between Dennis Quaid and Sean Connery. I thought that was funny. And, it all should have been fabulous. It just, the way it was put together and was edited, the pacing of it just was a little off for me. But other than that, everything else, the costumes are fabulous. The scenery was fabulous. I thought the dragon was fabulous. Is it the same as other dragons that you might love? No, but I thought it was perfect for what it was. So anyway, those are kind of my favorite moments I could think of right now.
Nice one. Thanks, Susie. And over to Beef Dad.
I really enjoyed the point where the dragon and Dennis Quaid worked out what they were going to do together. That was so clever, so funny. And then of course they did that one where the dragon shot out of the sky, ended up in the water, and swam away. And that was just so magical. The point where Pete Postlethwaite rescued them and got everything going, that was superb. And then, of course, as I say, the end of it, where they go to the Isle of Avalon, which is where King Arthur is supposed to be still. And the voice of King Arthur was done by John Gielgud. That was just so magical for me. I recognised his voice as soon as I heard it. And I thought, good God. And that really, it lifted me right at the very end. So yeah, it was good. It was well done. It was most enjoyable, and the dragon does remind me of that. I think they must have used the dragon from this as the basic for the dragon that they used in Merlin.
Yeah.
Because the similarity is pretty extraordinary. And of course, it was done by the War Doctor, the voice of that.
Yep, good old.
So that was just It was just superb. It worked really well. He had a perfect voice for it. So yeah, I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks very much, Beef Dad. And now over to Beef. Your favourite moments, mate?
Yes, crazily enough, the apple does not fall far from the tree, really. Like my father before me, and like Susie said, yeah, I love the con gone wrong. To be honest with you, where the stuff goes wrong and the lake's too shallow, it doesn't work, and you've got a village full of savages wanting their money back. I like the bit where the dragon son goes through all the different trials and gets the Holy Grail. That's a great part too. And then, but like Dad says, the probably the best bit for me is the bit at the Court of Avalon, to be honest with you. And you see the change in the character then. You see the bit where he goes from not caring about what has happened. He's gone away from being sort of, the drunkard, the guy who doesn't care and everything like that, to being the guy who, wants to make a difference, who feels that he could actually make a change and do something for the greater good. So I feel that really is a pivotal moment within the story. I like the end. David Thewlis is just chewing scenery in it, to be honest with you. He very much gives me the idea of King John from what film is it? Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've got this idea of the very infantile ruler that has been so spoilt and is used to getting his own way. But I would say for me is that it's the Court of Avalon. That's the definite bit. It's the bit that carries gravitas, to be honest with you. And you don't need to have Sean Connery in it. You just have the setting because it is filmed and framed beautifully.
Totally agree there. That bit is just absolutely brilliant, and I'll mention that later on. But yeah, thanks, Beef. Thanks for that. Over to Jake.
Well, if I had to pick a moment that I tried to enjoy, it would have been when the dragon fell into the lake and didn't sink. That's the only bit that I chuckled at. But me personally, no offense to Sean Connery, I don't think he was the right person to voice a dragon, personally. There's so many better actors with better voices to voice a design of dragon. I'm going to use an example of a dragon that is voiced by Godard. If you can call the Jabberwocky a dragon, Christopher Lee. Now, Christopher Lee's got the voice of a dragon because it's big and booming. I don't think, what's his face, had a good enough voice for the way the dragon looked, if that made sense. I couldn't picture the voice with the dragon. But yeah, and like Alex said earlier, it gave me very TV movie vibes. Like, I can imagine this being a movie for TV, not an actual movie, if that makes sense. But it's a good cast. But at the end of the day, for me, I didn't enjoy it. And having a good cast full of good and established actors didn't save it for me.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Jake. And fun fact for you, Christopher Lee did voice the Jabberwocky in one of the Alice in Wonderland films.
The first one.
That's it. Which was only for like a few seconds, a few minutes, and then he gets his tongue chopped off, and you're like, what? But yeah, thanks for that. But I agree, Christopher Lee could have been a really good choice. Love him. Over to Susan and Alex now.
Well, since Alex has mentioned, you go first.
Well, unusual, we agree again. Unfortunately, I did try to close my eyes, and I mean, Sean Connery is a very good actor, but it's him. And the problem is, it's always him. And he is more suited toward James Bond and Highlander and things like that. He does not have anything lizard-like or scary that you would equate with a dragon. Whether you think it's a bird, a lizard, or whatever, it does not work. Plus, if it's supposed to be some sort of monster, it doesn't sound like it. Go ahead,
Alex,
I know.
Alex, how would you think? What would a dragon sound like?
Yeah,
It doesn't sound like Sean Connery to me. Yeah.
Come on.
No,
How about Ian McDermott?
yeah, somebody else. If it's supposed to be some sort of monster, some sort of creature, Sean Connery is not what I'm thinking of. I like him. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not thinking of him for that. And like I said, I was having a joke. Jack Nicholson doesn't either, but it's a funny joke.
I'm just trying to picture a dragon now, sounding like Jack Nicholson.
I know.
Just don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
worry
a
about
little
it. He's just
creepy.
being
It's
funny.
a little creepy. So a little bit. Yeah, it took me right out, and I think that's the other issue too, is that you have to sort of with a genre, you have to pick the right cast. And it's not that it wasn't good actors, and it's not that they didn't try. The effects are actually pretty good. But yeah, it is to me more like a TV movie than, because I'd rather watch The Musketeers, or I'd rather watch Clash of the Titans, the original one, or I'd rather watch
Did you
Merlin.
have a favorite moment?
Yeah, because when I heard John Hurt as the dragon, that that is scarier than Sean Connery. I mean, a favorite moment? Well, yeah. I mean, the dialogue isn't bad. I like the dialogue, but I was trying to watch it, and I said, yeah, I know this is not my style. I'd rather watch something else. I'd rather watch Highlander, or even the second and the fourth one, even though it's pretty bad. But the first one was cool, and that's what I think of Sean Connery as. I think of him as James Bond and the character he played in Highlander. I don't think of him as a dragon at all. It just doesn't work.
Oh, I know who would be a good dragon.
Yeah.
Stephen Thorne.
Yeah, there you go.
Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
Or yeah, Ian McKellen. Wow, yeah.
James Earl Jones, who voiced Darth Vader.
Yeah.
In 1996, those people, most of them weren't as mature and didn't have that kind of mature gravitas as Sean Connery. That's why he works as the dragon. So I'm going.
The reason that I say Stephen Thorne is because he was Omega. He played Azal in the Demons. I mean, he had the booming.
Yeah, but he wasn't a Hollywood star.
Yeah.
No, they needed a star.
Oh, tough. I'm going off this thought. But I liked the dragon. I liked Sean Connery as the dragon. I liked the way they motorized his mouth to look like the dragon, and I liked the other thing. I know it's not your genre. The other thing that I liked was there was the moments when the dragon starts to, turn towards, a more not such an altruistic mode, but like kind of, we could make some money and stuff. That was fun, and watching him, what's the lead character's name? Anyway, as he's hang on. Here we are. Bowen, as he's getting his, as he's, ingratiating himself into the heart of the dragon, so that, this is someone the dragon shouldn't trust. This is something the dragon shouldn't have anything to do with at all. But he's like, pulling into the dragon's friendship circle, intimate friendship circle, like his bestie. He's turning into the dragon's bestie, and that energy is fun to watch. And so those are really cool moments, watching those two come together. And the other thing is watching what's her name? Was it Kara, or I think it was Kara who
Yep.
was slowly but surely gaining power I mean, she started off as a really big fighter and a really big warrior, but as she gained like the power to move into equality with royalty at some level. That was also a good character arc, and it's a good relationship, and that's what I'm usually all about, is the relationships. So yeah, that's my bit.
Thanks, Susan. So, yeah, favorite bits for me. As many have mentioned, I love the con man dynamic between them. That's just hilarious. The comedy between Bowen and Draco is just fantastic, and the whole idea that they're stealing, conning everybody, and of course, the classic tries to go into the water, but it's too shallow, and so he has to bugger off before he gets eaten. I mean, a comedy when they first meet, when they fight in the forest and stuff. That's brilliant. That's just fantastic, that moment. And yeah, for me, the best bit is Avalon. That bit's just absolutely stunning, shot to shot. And when you've got King Arthur that appears and Draco explaining everything and stuff, that bit, it's just a very powerful moment, and where everything just changes and they evolve just like that is brilliant. And I still get sad at the ending, when Draco dies, because I do love Draco. He's a great dragon. I do get sad at the end. I still do. But it's nice when you see him, he finally gets what he wanted to do. His soul becomes pure and he goes into Dragon Heaven, which is Draco, the constellation. I thought that was a great thing, that they used Draco, the constellation, as Dragon Heaven. And it was brilliant. That's just such a lovely, lovely ending.
That was nice.
Not only as Dragon Heaven, but as his name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was just brilliant. So, trying to think of the favorite moments and stuff. I think those are probably it. I think that those are my favorite moments in the movie. So, okay. So now to round everything off, we're going to rate the movie. So, over to his royal evilness himself.
Well, the score on the door is a 4. There you go, Ethan.
That's not bad.
A 4.
That's not bad.
I only said it because it rhymes. Otherwise, it'd get a 2.
Oh, well. There's always something, isn't there? You think, oh, okay, but then it suddenly follows up.
Yeah, and then suddenly I pull it back, yeah.
No worries. But that's not bad. That's actually quite decent. Number 4. Good on you.
-2 then.
Oh, shut up. Oh, I made this even flipping worse. Right. Thanks, buddy. Over to Lee.
Yes, I enjoyed it for what it is. Just a difficult one, this. As I said, something just didn't gel all the way through it. But I'm giving it a 7.5.
That's a good one. That's a good score too. Yeah. And now over to Susie.
I really wish that I could put a dot on why am not going, this is a 10, because this whole thing is right up my alley. I love dragons. I love knights. It kind of reminded me a little with Sean Connery was playing King Arthur. What was the movie? It was all blue. It was done around the same time, and he was King Arthur.
First Night.
Oh yeah, First Night. Yeah.
That was another one that I really wanted to watch.
That's a great film.
Yeah, it just didn't gel for me, but I still loved watching it. And this was kind of goes along with that for me. I don't know why. I really think it had to do with the editing and direction, because everything else is right there. So if you can kind of overlook that, all those moments that Ethan talked about it's true. So, chill out, understand that it may not be the best movie on the planet, but you can have a really good time with it. So if you're in isolation, like I am, just have a glass of wine, sit back, chill out, and watch Dragonheart. You'll have a good time. Or drink bourbon, whatever suits your fancy. Or tea, whatever. And I have to score it. I don't want to score it because I want to love it, but I don't. So I'll say an 8.5.
Not bad. That's a good score. Thank you, Susie. Over to Beef Dad.
Yes. I'm in isolation as well. And I absolutely loved this film. It really kept me comfortable, brought my heart out. There was moments that I laughed. There was moments that it got close to tears, and it was excellent. It was really well done. I loved the acting in it. It was well written too. And he gets a 10 from me.
Nice one, a 10. I have to say as well, I think we should start using the terms exiled or banishment instead of isolation. Those sound a bit more better, sound a bit more interesting. I'm in exile, I'm in banishment.
Can we exile Alid?
What's that?
Can we exile Alid?
We tried to put him in quarantine. It didn't work.
Yeah, he just breaks out, no problem. That's nothing.
I'm all for euthanasia.
Can you stop interrupting my watching of the television, please? You're going on about now, you lot. Wrap it up, Ethan.
All right. Right. Well, sorry, Your Majesty. Right, over to Beef.
I'm in seclusion at my secret underground lair.
Now there we go. See, he knows what he's talking about. There we go.
Had this film couldn't have been made in the 80s because of the technology needed to give you Draco. But it is purely an 80s movie in style, and it is still enjoyable. It's a 7 out of 10. I can't hate on it for the voice cast acting. Sean Connery was one of the biggest stars on the planet at that point in time, and he still has the gravitas. Because if you think about the character of Draco, he's one that has seen all of his kind destroyed. He's seen the relationship and the honor between man and the dragons be completely undone, and the society fall apart, and he's being a mentor to bring the world back to a more civilized, honorable age and the re-establishment of values, and by his teaching. So I can't hate on that at all. It's a 7 out of 10. It's just the wrong it was the wrong time. It just came out at the wrong time.
You said a 7.
7, very strong 7.
Very strong 7, yeah. No, I agree with the fact it does. I have thought that the same. It has an 80s feel. And I like that. I like that feel.
What about the video sequels and prequels? Because there's like 5 movies, also including this one, where they have Patrick Stewart as the dragon in one movie.
That was
Really?
Right.
I can watch that.
Yes, and Ben Kingsley and any of them, but I ain't watched them. And that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, right. Over to
It's the same series.
over to Susan and Alex for your.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's the same series. I think I actually watched a couple of the prequel and the sequel, but there's 5 altogether. Yeah, I'm not the only one that said that Sean Connery, as wonderful as he is, doesn't quite work as a dragon voice. Yeah, I mean, the other ones were okay. Like I said, it's a shame because it is a good cast. I just think it wasn't directed well enough. But the effects, the cast, the dialogue isn't bad, so I have to give it something. But it's not as much fun as when I was watching Merlin or The Three Musketeers with Capaldi, or The Musketeers, I guess it's called. I mean, the theme song kicks ass, but that's a different thing. So yeah, I'll give it a 7.5. I mean, I did like the cast, I did like the dialogue, except for Sean Connery. That's the problem.
so you never go lower than a 7 usually. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so my score will be, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It was good to watch it again. It was pretty all right, not too shabby. I mean, it really was of its time in my mind. Like, there was a time when this was like this, and the other like Alex said, the other Dragonheart movies were like everything I was living for at the moment. But you know, these seasons shift and your taste shifts and stuff. But at least it was super fun to join you guys on talking about it, though. So
Yeah, thanks for that, Susan. But so my score.
How about me? I ain't had my go yet.
Oh, sorry, Ethan. Is that many of them? Sorry. Right, over to you, Jake.
Well, I'm stuck in a time, Eddie, and I'm gonna give this a 2. I really did not enjoy it, and it's not anything. I'm not gonna go back and watch it, and I'm not even gonna bother with the rest of the films if it was as boring as this one was.
Straight to the point, ain't he?
What did your mum think though? Because she loves dragons.
She didn't watch it.
Oh well, there you go.
Oh, rough.
You should have your mom come on the cast.
Yeah.
Got more chance of me walking.
I've seen you tap dance. Shut up.
Oh, thanks for that, Jake. Yeah, so my score, for what it is, I'm going to give it a 7.5. That's the best score I can give it. It's just, if you want to just relax and try something, just clear your mind, the usual, sit down, watch Dragonheart. It's a good, decent fantasy flick that's from the 90s but has an 80s feel, and yeah, so that's my score. So that's the end of our cast. And what are your thoughts, everybody? Do you agree with us, or would you like to comment? As Beef will show you, he'll direct you where to do it on the comment section. If you'd like to follow us, subscribe, ring the bell. If you'd like notifications, follow us on Twitter. We're on Facebook. If you want to come and join in with the madness and get isolated with us, come and join in. Let us know. And thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you all next time. Adios.